Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mike's Plus One Plus One, proudly sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com, mana traders, as well as Twitch subscribers and Patreon supporters, just like yourself. My name is Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, MTG Nerd Girl.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Ruben Bressler.
Good afternoon. Good to see you.
And now to introduce our guest, Ruben, take it away.
Hey everybody, this week's guest is Taalia Vess. She is a Magic the Gathering video content creator and player with massive followings all across social media. She is a co-founder of She Sparks, which seeks to help marginalized groups in gaming spaces. And of course, she is a globetrotter and traveler, the likes of which we rarely see. Please welcome Taalia Vess.
Yay.
Hey y'all! Thank you so much for having me. I am excited to dig in.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Now,
yeah.
if you missed our pre-show, subscribers to this channel get access to our NSFW version early. And with that, let's start the show up. First is outside assistance. We've chosen a question from the comments of our last Plus One show, and that person gets $50 worth of anything at CoolStuffInc.com. Nerd Girl, what is today's question?
All right, well, we have a question from Komodo. They ask, it's easy to talk about memorable wins, but sometimes it's just as amazing to be on the opposite side of the Lightning Helix or Bonfire of the Damned. So tell us, what is your favorite loss in Magic? It's a tough question.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll take this one real quick while Talia thinks about it. I once played for the top 8 of an SCG event one time. This was like the last round. We were there on breakers. I was definitely going to win. But the kid I was playing against was a kid. This kid was like maybe 10 or 11 years old. And I was there, doing whatever. And I made some mistake in game 3. And he beat me. And that kid, it was like he had won the lottery / it was Christmas. The greatest thing. He never top 8'd ever. And that was amazing. And I didn't even care that I lost. That was wonderful.
So the question is what is your favorite loss?
Basically, yeah. What's your most
memorable?
That
memorable?
is so hard to answer because I teach the game a lot to people, and not that I purposefully lose, but when they beat me, especially when someone's playing for the first time, I love losing. It's so great, because I want them to have fun and I want them to really enjoy playing the game, and so. Oh my gosh, I am not a sore loser at all. I love losing.
It is a learned skill.
It is.
It is a
Great
learned
answer.
skill to enjoy losing. I used to be the worst. Literally the worst. I was a very sore loser. I was awful. But as a storyteller and as a dungeon master for D&D, you lose for a living. And so I sort of learned how to lose. And I also tapped into something I learned with my grandfather when he was teaching me chess. When I was, a young child. I'd play against my granddad and he'd always win. And then the first time I won, I was like, oh my God, I beat Grandpa. And he was like, good job. Play again.
Doesn't it feel so much better too when you lose, and then you finally win one, and the person is not taking it easy on you or any, and you earned it. I love that. I was gonna say I had a similar upbringing. My dad taught me how to play chess, and I always played a lot of different board games with my family. And so at a very young age, the first time I threw a fit over Monopoly or something, who knows, probably Monopoly, I learned control your emotions. It's okay. It's a game, and we can play again. Yeah. So I definitely learned that at a young age. And it's okay to get a little salty if you lose too, especially if there's high stakes on the line. I remember I was competing in a streamer showdown, and I was fighting for a spot in the finals. It was the final 2, and I got cut. Well, I lost, not cut. I lost in my last round, the semifinals, and I was like, man, that would have been really cool to be on the final battle of the showdown, but kind of hurt a little bit, but I got over it and moved on, and I've played thousands of games since, and so I don't know. Every game is completely different, and you always learn something, and I really like seeing people do cool things with their decks, and if you're going to combo off and do something really, really cool, then that's awesome, and that's a story to tell. So Yeah.
I love this question from Komodo. I could talk about nothing but this question.
Deep question. Yeah.
Right, we're talking about losing for like 30 minutes. That sounds
It's great.
super sweet. No, I mean, it's something you got to get used to, right? It's even the best in the world lose like 30-40% of the time. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Komodo, for being a part of the show. So, Taalia, tell us kind of how you got started with Magic.
I got started with Magic through my Dungeons and Dragons group.
Oh.
So I played D&D for several years, every single weekend, like all day Saturday from the moment I woke up to like 2 a.m. we would be playing our campaign. And then whenever we would finish it out, we would go camping and just play D&D in the woods. It was really cool. So at the end of the last campaign that I did, which was like over a decade ago now, I haven't played D&D in so long, but they brought over a fat pack and they were like, okay, well, we're gonna, do something different. We're gonna draft this game. And I immediately fell in love with the artwork. And I also had played like a lot of draft building games before, like Sushi Go and Ascension and just like little board games, Fairy Tale. And so I was like, okay, easy. I got this. And I crushed everyone. It was awesome. And I was like, I really like this game. And I haven't put down Magic ever since. Like, I fell in deep. I love playing Limited. And shortly after that, I discovered Commander. And yeah, now I have like a lot of Commander decks. I'm so indecisive. I just keep making more. I need to break some apart, though.
It's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so just been a gamer my whole life and really fell in love with Magic.
I mean, I'll go. I will.
Go
I will
for it.
ask I will ask 70 questions.
You
I
go,
was-
buddy. I'm
you
just
know, but
Lord over it.
hey, so D&D is great. You haven't played D&D in a decade. Are you?
Haven't.
Well, first of all, D&D a decade ago was not 5th edition. D&D a decade ago did not experience the new revolution that we have with a Chris Pine movie that just came out and Critical Role and Dimension 20 and this sort
It's
of
changed a lot.
renaissance. So are you
Yep.
interested in D&D as a thing in the future, or is that just sort of part of the backstory, do you think?
I definitely am interested in D&D. I love the game. I love the stories that you tell. I just have, so many good memories from those times. The thing for me is like just the time commitment. If there is like, I just blinked on the name of it, but like a one-off or something. One shot. If there's a one shot, I would love to participate in one of those. But, I played for several years every single weekend and it kind of controlled it. Like D&D was my life. It was like work D&D. So, which was really awesome. But I think I just have so many other interests and I fortunately get to travel a lot with Magic conventions. And so it's just hard to like find the commitment, the time commitment for it these days. But yeah, still super interested in it. And I want to see the movie really bad.
Same. Looked good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you talked a lot about traveling for Magic, and I know that a big part of that is She Sparks. Do you want to tell us about how that started and what it is essentially?
Yeah. So basically, at the end of the pandemic, I was working within CFB events. Actually, right before the pandemic, I was working with CFB events. So I was working behind the scenes in production, helping run the Magic Twitch channel. And so right when I started getting like more jobs with them, the pandemic happened. And so we created, not we, but they created Magic Online. And so I was doing some commentary for Magic Fest Online throughout the beginning of the pandemic. And then once they announced that first convention back, it was in Vegas. It was a CFB run event in Vegas. I was like, we have to be there. Like we have to have a presence there. Going to these events before, it was like mostly, men. And so I was like, it would be awesome to have kind of like a woman empowerment group come together. And so I just kind of reached out to a bunch of people and said, hey, do you want to pitch in with me on this booth? And we can like buy a booth space. And it'd be awesome just to be there and have presence there. And if you have something to sell, like if you have cosplay prints and artwork or tokens or stickers or whatever, bring them. That way it can kind of help offset the cost of running the booth and having the booth. And so a few people said yes, which was Air Bubbles, Zenaid, Zebex, and Zabricus. And so we just put it together super last minute. We had like 2 weeks to spare, and we made up the name and made up a sign, and we just like really wanted to have a presence there. And it's not like a closed group of people. It's kind of turned more into like a movement of just, hey, women belong at this thing too. And like you have a safe, comfortable space to come to at these events. So it's kind of what it turned into. Yeah. And at each city, we usually will feature a local artist. So that's been really cool. And yeah, it's just really grown a whole lot since then. now we get invited to events, but the first one we did totally buy it.
Now, what is on the horizon for She Sparks? Are you guys working on anything specific? What events are on the horizon for you where people can seek you out and try to find you guys?
Yeah, so She Sparks is like all about creating opportunities for people. And I know Zenaid, for example, Zebeck, she's going to be at the Cool Stuff Inc. event coming up in Orlando, and she's going to be cosplaying. So that's representation for women in the game, right? Like right there. Like she's a She Sparks. That's representation. I am signed on with contracts for Magic Con, but that's not specifically like with She Sparks, but I'm still a She Spark. And so it's really cool to be active at these events. We do have DreamHack coming up in 2 weeks. So I know you'll be there as well. And we will have a booth there at DreamHack San Diego. So you can come by, you can take pictures with the cosplayers, you can check out another local, well, I say local artist, but she's local to me in Houston. We're going to be featuring Atta Girl, who is the mom of Family the Gathering, and she does some really, really awesome token designs and artwork. So she's gonna be our featured artist. And we'll have shirts. You can learn how to play Magic. You can spin for giveaways. It's just a cool, fun place to hang out. It's comfortable.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you feel that sort of that comfort basically wasn't there before, and this is kind of an outreach for that.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, I didn't feel comfortable going to events, and there's like no one like me. You know what I mean? It's changed a whole lot, thankfully.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot more people of the marginalized gender get into the game, and I think a lot of that had to do with Magic Arena and the presence on Twitch. I know I've met a lot of women through the Twitch community, so that's been really awesome.
Nice. I mean, obviously a little like softball there. Yes, obviously the dude in the room was like never felt that way. But again, it's nice to know that you can see some of those changes based on what you've been doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think like as a woman, it's been really, really hard to play any game. I mean, like
true.
I remember growing up and being super into Call of Duty, but every time I put on my headset, I was getting harassed every single time.
It still happens.
And it still happens.
It still happens.
Which is insane. And it was happening to me at Magic conventions as well when I would compete. Like my opponents, not all the time, but most of the time they were going to be rude to me, and they were like going to make comments like, oh, I can't believe I got beat by a girl. I'm sure MTG Nerd Girl has experienced this as well. But yeah, it's just like, I can't believe it's still happening. So we're stronger in numbers, right? So if we have a space there in for example, like a few guys came by our booth and they were like, oh, our girlfriends didn't want to come because they didn't feel comfortable, but it's awesome that you're here. And then literally the next day, Maria comes, and now we're like great friends. And you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
It's all about building community, and it's been really, really awesome. You have to have a presence at these events to do that. You know what I mean? Like to make people feel more welcome and safe to come to these things, because they know there's going to be other people there. It's not just a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, especially when
I'm ranting, but I hope that
No,
makes
you're good.
sense. My brain
You're the
works way
guest
too
here.
fast.
Do what you want.
Then
We're here
then
for
I
you. Good
can
cool.
talk.
It's cool.
Right. But, even for someone who's male presenting and white and, checks all the boxes of what, the power structure looks like, Magic events and Magic tournaments and Magic-centric locations like game stores are intimidating. They just are.
1000%.
Yeah. When I fortunately I started going when I was a child, so 12-year-old Ruben, who is half the age and a third the size of all of the people I'm playing against, I grew up in it, so I sort of built the armor of it. But it's a completely different thing when you don't have the traditional markers of the power structure. But it has changed, and you mentioned that a big part of that change was Magic Arena. Can you talk a little bit more specifically about how you think that Magic Arena and making the events more centric around that program has sort of changed the dynamic of live events?
Ooh, okay, that is a complicated question. Do you mean like how Arena has
opened doors for anyone? If you
specifically?
Anyone. I would say you mentioned that Arena, you felt like Arena made it easier to
It made it
come
easier. Yes, it made it easier because it's free and you can download it on your phone or you can download it on your computer. And for me, like, I was wanting to stream Magic for so long, but I was working paycheck to paycheck and I didn't have a computer. All I had was like a really crappy laptop that barely could run Arena back then, but that was like my entry point to bring Magic in like a public eye, if that makes sense. Like, I wanted to stream Magic. I played paper Magic, but streaming paper Magic is very complicated. I mean, you need to have like a camera set up. You need to have an overhead camera. And I was like, dang, like I really want to stream Magic, but I just don't have access to all that stuff. And so when Arena came out, I was like, perfect. I can download this. And it was like so glitchy the cards would be like glitching on my crappy laptop. But shortly after, I put up a goal within my Twitch community and I was able to purchase a PC, which helped a whole lot. And then eventually, I got better cameras and I got better lights and everything, but it definitely was like a long, hard process. I think Arena like introduced people to Magic a lot because it's free to download. It has a great tutorial. If people come to my booth, for example, and we're like really busy and they want to learn how to play the game, I send them to like Magic Kids next door, or I'm like, you could download Arena. It has a great tutorial for you to learn how to play the game. So just the barrier to entry, I guess, because cards can be so expensive and it's intimidating for people to get into the game. I know I was very intimidated at first. I was like, oh gosh, those are too much money. But yeah.
Now,
I hope that answered your question.
There's
so many like
sure, a lot of
positives
facets there, right?
Yeah, to Arena.
Well, speaking of sort of facets, another facet to yourself is cosplay, and you've been doing that for a while. Did you do that before you got into Magic? After you got into Magic?
Yeah, so a long, long time ago, when I was working in hospitals, I worked in the medical field for 12 years. Something that I like to do was I like to do cosplay and go to the hospitals. But these were, and see the kids. Now, these were cosplays that I didn't make. These were cosplays that were owned by a company, and they were mostly like Disney princesses and things like that. And I would wear them and travel around and just do birthday parties. And that's kind of how I got my interest and start into costumes. And then Comic Palooza came around, gosh, that was like 2009. And I did my first cosplay on my own, which was Silk Spectre from Watchmen. And so I really loved like doing comic book characters and anime characters. So I did Mystique from X-Men, and I did Mikasa from Attack on Titan. I just really did characters that I loved and I was like passionate about. And I got, invited to comic book conventions back then. It was about the time when Patreon came out, and I felt like a lot of pressure to, I don't know, how do I say it? I just either like over exaggerate the character, like be very, very sexy and like sell prints, or like I didn't, like nobody cared. It was like a dark path for me. So I quit cosplay for a long time. And I didn't do any magic cosplays until recently, whenever Wizards approached me and they asked me to cosplay as Elspeth. And I really loved the character and I was excited. I felt that spark again about like wearing a costume. I didn't have a lot of time on my hands to make it because I just like I'm traveling so much and and creating content. And so I had my friend Zabricus make it for me. And so, yeah, I do love the art and craft of it, but it was not like my number one priority in life anymore. I just like wanted to play Magic. Yeah. That's a long story, but yeah,
it's a good story. It's a good.
There was a long path of like cosplay, and then falling out of love with cosplay, and then kind of rediscovering it and loving it again. So yeah, I've always appreciated and loved it. I just felt like it wasn't for me anymore. I just wanted to like play D&D, which I did cosplay for as well. I did some D&D cosplays for my ranger character, but
I was going to ask, what's your go-to class? Although
I actually regretted doing it. I regretted picking a ranger for 2 years because it got a little stale. I was like, dang, I wish I was a wizard or a bard or something and I could do more things.
Now that you've rediscovered your cosplay spark, is there a cosplay that you would like to do if you had infinite time and dollars? What would be what would be your dream magic cosplay?
The new Elspeth, of course, with the full like armor, and it has like the neon and like she has her godsend, or is that the godsend?
Godsend, yeah.
Yeah.
Giant sword.
Angel wings. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's definitely an undertaking. That's a lot of work. We'll see. Hopefully I pull it off one day.
Now, nice. I see a lot of magic content creators. I see very few human beings who are as capable of marketing themselves and extending themselves into other avenues of outlets, and with seemingly boundless energy. You have so many social media channels, avenues of creation, sponsors, guest deals. Somehow you're here. I imagine you just got back on a plane flight and are about to leave on another one. Is that something that comes naturally to you, or was that something that you had to work on? And talk to me all about, like, you have so many plates spinning.
Yes, I think like I function best when I have so many things happening. Like if I had nothing to do, I'm just being honest, I get really depressed, like really depressed. I'm like, oh God, what am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? Like when I'm busy, it excites me. It keeps me going. I love that. That's why I do so many different things. Like, when people ask me, what do you do? And I'm like, some people do like this one thing, which is great. I would love to just stream on Twitch and have this, amazing Twitch. I do have an amazing Twitch community, but like, an amazing giant Twitch channel. But like, I can't focus on just Twitch. I need to do TikToks, and I want to be at events, and I just want to do so many different things. And that works best for me. I like to keep it new and fresh. I got invited to a Command Fest that happened in Mexico City, and I was like, yes, let's go. I want to go to Mexico City, which was awesome. So yeah, like I love that's what keeps me going. And like, honestly, we have a phrase with She Sparks called "You Can Sit With Us," and I discovered that in Mexico City at a store. I was walking and that they had that on the floor of the store. It said, "You can sit with us," and I was like, that resonates so much to me. And like my commander table, "You can sit with me." Like, I love that. So I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay.
I just find so much inspiration when I'm doing so many things and I'm going to so many places, and it's really cool.
So I can imagine the pandemic.
I feel very fortunate. It was not always the case. I spent pretty much my entire 20s like, just work and never doing anything that I loved. So I'm very fortunate now.
Yeah, I was just saying the pandemic was probably pretty hard on you, I could imagine, in that case.
Surprisingly, I'm very introverted and I'm a homebody. So I took the time to really focus on rebranding. Like, I got rid of my name, which was a good idea. And I became Taalia Vess, and I created and made merch designs, t-shirts, boxes. All that stuff takes a lot of time, and like figuring out where to order it from and, designing it. And so I spent the time, and I also did Magic Fest online. So I did commentary 4 days a week, I think. So I still was very fortunate that I had jobs, and I was also like working towards future Taalia Vess stuff.
Future. All right. Well, I mean, you've certainly done super well so far,
Yeah.
We'll keep that train rolling.
And I'm
Thanks.
curious, what if do you have anything that you can share? Obviously, you don't have to break any news here, but do you have anything you can share about the future of She Sparks and what is on the horizon for that organization?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not necessarily like an organization at all.
Okay.
It's more of just a movement. It's just we want to work together. We want to help each other. We want to create opportunities for each other. We want to create a safe place for each other. So we don't have a Discord channel right now. A lot of people are like, how do I join? But like, it's not really something you can join. We don't have like members. It's hard to explain because we do have like our founding members, I guess, that because they were just like the first ones that said yes, but we want to work with everyone. Like, we want to, if, we're going to a convention in San Diego, for example, and you live in San Diego, we want to create an opportunity for you to come and be at the booth and interact with the community. You know what I mean? So I think that in terms of how you can get involved, we're kind of playing with the idea of making a free Patreon. That way, instead of a Discord, because Discord sometimes can get like a little, I don't know the right terminology, but it just, sometimes there's some like toxicity that can happen, and people might, I don't know. I just want to keep it like a little bit more controlled and professional in business. So, if we do have an opportunity, we can post like, hey, this opportunity is coming up. Who is interested? Because that's kind of what I do now. And so I just reach out to people. So yeah, I hope that works out. And then if people wanted to support She Sparks, then we can give that monthly Patreon money to like a charity of choice each month or something. Yeah.
Nice.
We're not, yeah. That's something we're like playing, an idea we're all playing with right now. We haven't made a decision, but I think that might be, and I have to give Anna Margaret credit for that. She's been really awesome in helping navigate like what to do to include more people. But yeah, in like a controlled, safe space, because Discord lately, we've been having like a lot of scams pop in there and like weird links. And so I just don't want to have like someone have to moderate it. You know what I mean? As well. I don't want anybody to spend their time moderating it.
Yeah.
We've
I
been
think
lucky.
Patreon
We've
might
been
be
lucky
a
with the
good-
Magic Mike's Discord. We haven't had too many bot intrusions.
Yeah.
It's been nice. But
Yeah.
all right. Well, before we head into the fundamental turn, we want to thank our co-sponsor, Manitraders, for sponsoring the show. Show them some love with the promo code MagicMikes when signing up for a subscription plan and get 12% off. Try out and play all the sweet and unique formats that only Magic Online has available. And now on to the fundamental turn. Now, as noted, this is a series of quick, off the top of your head questions, just whatever comes to the brain. Feel free to share it, and we'll keep on moving. Okay, Taalia, what is...
Wait, is this just me?
Just you?
Yeah.
I feel like I've just been talking this whole time.
It's an interview show, and your name's going to be in the title. That's
what they
want.
It ain't us. It's about you. This is all about you. You're doing great.
They already know us.
Yeah,
it's time
know
for people
us.
to get to know you.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, Taalia, what is your...
But I was going to say, before we go in, if you have any questions for us, then feel free. But
Sure.
this show's about you.
Right. We
Okay.
want to know all about you.
Okay.
That's all.
All right, I'm ready.
Everything's fine. It'll be great. Let's go. Your favorite thing about Magic?
Oh, the people. That's such a generic answer, I'm sure, but
Totally okay. Old border or new border?
old border.
Favorite set?
Oh my god. I don't know.
So much
Yeah,
torment.
Return to no, I don't know. Return to Ravnica has like Cyclonic Rift, and that's like one of my favorite cards. I don't know. I like blue.
Favorite mechanic?
Landfall.
Favorite deck?
That's not blue.
Landfall's blue?
Hedron Crab is blue.
Landfall's
Uh-huh.
everything.
That's true.
I know, because I have a Landfall Civic deck. Sorry, what was that?
Favorite deck?
I have way too many. My favorite deck right now is Zeatora Jund Sacrifice.
Nice. Card you wish you never got rid of?
Oh, I only got rid of one card in my whole life, and I sold my Vampiric Tutor, and now I kind of need it, and I'm really sad.
Best advice you repeat?
Be your authentic self.
What do people get wrong about you?
So many things. God.
Pick your favorite.
Pick your fave.
That they get wrong about me. Oh, that's an on the spot question. Oh God. That I am a full-time cosplayer. I don't know. That's a common one.
Fair enough. And what do people get right about you?
That I'm a community builder.
What makes you happy?
Playing Magic with friends and new friends.
And failure means?
Failure means that you haven't tried everything. I don't know. Does that make sense?
And success means?
That you've tried a lot.
We did it. And that ends the fundamental turn. Another episode of Magic Mike's +1+1. And finally, Taalia, where can people find you online?
You can find me pretty much everywhere at Taalia Vess. That's 2 A's. 2 A's in there.
Double A's. Very nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Nerd Girl.
Thanks for having me. See you guys next week.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you. This was great.
And thank you, Taalia Vess.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for watching
You bet.
or listening.
Now move on here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, Manitraders, my co-host, MTG Nerd Girl and Ruben Bressler, our special guest, Taalia Vess. You guys for watching and listening. I hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mikes, on Twitter at Magic Mikes Cast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes +1+1. Good night, everybody.